to go. So those are some of the issues. I talked to some of the Eliud Kipchoge, the coach, whenever they are going to national duty. And I'm not saying they should be treated as better. They are only given economy ticket. But AK officials and ministry officials are business class and first class. And they need leg room so that when they land, at least they can be comfortable. Yeah. These are national treasure, as Ndua said. Just let me conclude. These are brand ambassadors. How many billions of people watch when our athletes are running? In fact, Brand Kenya should be disbanded and those money be given to these athletes and sportsmen and women, so that when Victor Wanyama is playing, somebody can ask that Victor, from which country? Kenya. Then somebody will say, I want to visit Kenya. We should use that money in our sports than give to Brand Kenya, where you don't know what they are doing. They're just giving out Masai sugars.
We hear you, and I personally like what you're doing.
Yes.
But is this not the bane of our existence, where officials are more important than the athletes?
That is the problem.
Huh?
And that is why, in fact, I have seen some of these officials recording themselves and insulting me, mobilizing federations to insult some of us, the Deputy Speaker, Gladys Boss, Imani Ishungwa, and myself, saying this is politics. It's not politics. What I'm defending, and I expected all Kenyans, wakwe nyuma yangu, not literally, all Kenyans to be behind me, because what we are discussing is cross-cutting.
Sawa.
Yes.
What are the solutions?
The solution going into the future.
Is there a legislative loophole with the Sports Act, with any of the laws?
Yes,
do we have any of those? What is it that needs to be done? What can be seen?
What I can say, just to repeat what I opened my remarks were, we need to just strengthen the Sports Act, the issue of reward system. Let us entrench in the law, because one day you will have somebody. I can see all of us are supporters for sports, but God forbid if was a president of this country who will want to be the president, but they don't like sports. So we need to entrench in the law about reward system, like amending the legends issues of like for example, when you win gold, we should agree. When Malkia strikers win, when you win football, you get an award. How should we reward you? So reward system should be entrenched. Okay. Number 2 is ring fence the sports fund, and those are amendments that are proposed. Number 3 is we must, the way we have done anti-doping, the ADAC, we must give it some more powers to punish beyond the athlete, to punish the accessories. The people like a doctor. If I'm a doctor and I give you doping assist you do here, I should be registered and even criminal proceedings, even the agent, the coach. So we need to go the fight of doping menace in this country to go beyond just punishing the athlete. Number 4 is on the issue of KRA and the winnings. We need to give them tax relief and exemption to the winnings that the footballers, the athletes, and the ballers and volleyballers and any other form of discipline win there, because we benefit indirect through their branding. When they wear that Kenyan issue and what have you. Number 4 is I'm proposing, when you are called to national duty to play for the football of this country, to run for this country, you should drop any other issue. Number 5 is an overhaul of the sports management in this country. Let all federations have elections. Let's have new officials in office. And we must be deliberate in this country. Most of these people, I'm not saying 100%, should be people with background on the issue of sports science and management, be the ex-sportsmen and women who know the game, who know the pain.
Senator,
I want to see somebody who reads rugby as a coach, like the late Ayimba. Was it called Ayimba?
Yes.
The legend. He could understand what happens on the... Why would you take Cherargei, who is an expert, I'm not a professor of politics like Moy, but who is an expert in politics or an expert in law, to go and run football? Unless I have different motivation to do that.
On your 100 questions, I think another thing that we've seen, and maybe this is
Can I add 101 now? So that
just in case it's not on that list.
Yes.
And it could be.
Yes.
But one thing that we did see, and it was actually quite embarrassing, Omanyala had to run after... In his debut, I believe it was in Oregon.
Yes, I remember that.
He had to run some 4 hours after he landed.
Imagine.
I think it was less than that. And this was because of a visa issue, all right?
Correct. Yes.
We also had the volleyball team had a very difficult time, the strikers, trying to get French visas. Why wouldn't this be something? Can be quick. There are arrangements, there are discussions between country to country every day. Wouldn't it be a good thing whereby sports who are going to participate in global tournaments can get the accreditation as quickly as possible?
Do you know, as a senator, if I have to travel this Friday, I can be quickly intervene to be given a US visa with the government departments. The ministry department, immigration can process within the shortest time possible for the senator to travel to US for benchmarking, which we would have done in Nyandarua or in somewhere in Murang'a, for example. Because those are just meetings where we go and discuss, even virtually. But I agree with you. Even that letter of going to run, later on the visa and even the passport.
Going to AK
going to AK is treacherous. It's traumatizing.
Which is
so I agree with what you are saying, that that we need a way of giving them, and that is why these are policy issues.
I'm not hearing solutions, Senator.
No, that is why I'm agreeing with that.
Slapstick. So yeah, let's
I've given the solutions.
Look at our reward scheme. Yes. Let's look at winning.
Yes. The doping issue.
Let's doping issue.
Yes.
Let's ring-fence
the management of sports and overall of having elections
by its own creation is ring-fenced.
No, but the regulations only. What we need to do is to ring-fence specifically.
Even those regulations, there's nowhere they say that this fund can then also be used to finance health.
But you and me have been
or
in
to
this
pay
country.
Salaries.
Are you aware that this sports fund was used to pay petroleum levy fund?
Yes,
and there's
aware.
nothing in the regulations or the Sports Act or anything that establishes the sports fund that allows for that to happen. It's just bad manners, Buana.
Of course, agreed. But since we have bad manners, let us be prescriptive.
But I also don't hear that we should legislate that any time an issue of this nature is mentioned, the CS steps down immediately.
But that is leadership and integrity is in the Constitution.
But he has not stepped down.
But many people now have reduced this thing to politics. You hear somebody saying, Cherargei does not like the face of Ababu. I don't know even Ababu personally.
Look,
I don't have his name. But the problem in these countries, we have bad manners of trivializing issues.
I want to take you
because
back. Because
who raises if it is new, we say, no, it should not
be. You look at it politically. I want to take you back to just a couple of months ago when the sports ministry took action on football in this country.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, and I think before elections.
She created a team.
Technical team. Yes.
We had conversations with FIFA. It's not the first time that this has happened when the government has tried to intervene in football.
Yes.
To disastrous consequences.
Yes.
We are banned. FIFA comes in and everything, we cow back. So when we say let's overhaul sports management in this country, what do we need to do?
Yes.
Because we've tried it before, it has not worked. We've tried to overhaul the management of football, it didn't work. Tried to intervene with rugby, didn't work. Cricket, that one is even gone.
Yes.
Swimming now, gone.
So is this impunity?
What can we do?
Mine, I'm not saying we interfere directly. There is a way that government has a way of working. There is a way, and by the way, when Amina Mohammed did that, she did that maybe in good faith. Because the person who was being removed ended up being charged in court, and I think they have been recharged again, which means there was misappropriation of funds. No, but I'm told that the DPP is appealing. I'm waiting.
Okay.
So what is happening is that we need to agree as a country that this is bad manners. I agree with you, but what the government can do something about it, because you cannot tell me if government went and intervene with FIFA ban until it was reversed. It means government has more power than you and me to rectify other systems. For example, if we have to do elections, is to ensure why are these people going to court?
Mheshimiwa, you are government.
Yes.
There are three arms of government.
Yes.
You belong to one arm. You are government.
But that is what I'm saying my government will do. Is the part of legislation and oversight. And in fact, I expected you guys to laud me for speaking out until the minister was summoned to National Assembly and the Senate to appear and answer questions, because those are part of the oversight.
That's why you're here, Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
We appreciate what you're doing. We wanted you to have a platform to say it even louder.
This is an endorsement.
This is an endorsement,
yes.
But we want solutions.
Thank you.
Yes.
That is why I'm saying...
You and I can't be speaking on the streets, Buana.
No, I agree. That's why I'm saying, and I will invite you when I'll be moving those amendments to kindly cover, if you will get a chance, that you can listen the what I'm trying to put across.
I want to tell you something, so that we can maybe get a taste of how bad this thing is.
Correct.
So that when we're talking about legislation, we don't just talk about it as though, okay, it's something I'll do on Tuesday. Correct. And I'm going to go back to Malkia Strikers, which you've talked about severally this morning.
Yes.
They were trying to get French visas.
Yes.
Nobody talked. Nobody from anywhere had a conversation.
Yes.
The volleyball coach was at the French embassy. The ambassador was leaving. The coach had to run after the ambassador in the vehicle. Hit the window to explain, excuse me, this is why I'm here. This is what we're trying to do. It was at that point that the ambassador of France
Really?
now intervened to get those visas. This is Kenya's national volleyball
the pride
team.
of Africa, the top in Africa.
That is, we're not talking about some story somewhere. Happened in Nairobi, here, Loiter Street.
In fact, that is now, you know, that is why now there is a problem in sports ministry. Because that is why, by the way, what I can say is that is why there is a problem in leadership of ministry. Because those are small issues that we should not legislate
Should be
about.
handled by a desk at the ministry.
I've told you an example. If I have to travel today to Estonia for open governance program, because I'm the chair of open governance, it's ongoing in Estonia, what I will need is a letter from the speaker or the clerk, attach my details with my secretariat and other colleagues, take it to the Estonian embassy. I don't need even to appear. They only need my biometrics. Then within a few days, I get my visa to travel to Estonia or US. So what should be that should have been the Ministry of Sports, the
That's
CS,
true.
write and says and do.
This is our
my
team.
brother
Team
here,
is
CT,
good.
are traveling for football or American football somewhere in Oregon, and this please facilitate them with visas. They would have got it. So those are leadership challenges within the ministry. You can't blame it on anybody. It's about bad manners, because so long as it is not about me, then it is not about us, and then I don't care about it.
And there's
So
no
those are the
accountability.
leadership challenges, and I hope the Minister of Sports and the leadership of Ministry of Sports are following, because we don't need to come and legislate them. It's just a letterhead of the Ministry of Sports will do magic. Because even my letter of the Senator of Nandi, if I have to try to see Muga and I want maybe fertilizer for my farmers and I have the list, I can just write to National Cereals and Producer. But because he's the senator, it will be easily facilitated as opposed as a farmer going to try and get the same thing. So I agree with you that there's, and that is why I was saying Malkia Strikers, you had the coach, Paul Bitog, my good friend, saying they are paying 80,000 to use Kasarani per day.
It is
is
him who ran
nonsense.
after the car.
And of
They're
course,
paying
I guess
80,000 shillings to
Why?
and then
sports
when they
stadium.
win, you come and tell us how we have been committed. I agree. Finally, I agree with what Ndu said, that most of this, in fact, most of these efforts is personal efforts of sportsmen and women. This Ministry of Sports and the developing of these sports has failed. And therefore, I want to say finally that the buck stops with the Ministry of Sports, the buck stops with the Minister of Sports. The fact that he sponsors Twitter hashtag and any others will not fix
Keep
the
the fire
bad
burning.
manners. We must fix these sports for the betterment of our young people in
Keep
this
the
country.
fire burning,
And I will
Senator.
keep working this path.
Kabisa,
Yes.
we support you on that.
Asante.
Keep the fire burning.
Yes.
That's the oversight role
Yes.
that we elected you to do.
Correct.
9 a.m. Keep it here for more conversations. Senators.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. President William Ruto has arrived at KICC for the last day of the Africa Climate Summit function. The president last night, together with the First Lady Rachel Ruto, hosted a State House dinner. The dinner was attended by the heads of state and dignitaries who during the day had participated in the summit. Upon arrival, the guests were entertained by Maasai dancers as they walked towards the dinner area. It brought together 12 former heads of state and government and deputies, 66 ministers from different countries, and more than 20 leaders of international organizations, donor agencies, and development banks. After the meeting, the East African Community Heads of State resolved to extend the mandate of the East African Community Regional Force to stay in the Democratic Republic of Congo for 3 months. The decision was made following the meeting that was held by Presidents William Ruto, Evariste Ndayishimiye of Burundi, Salva Kiir of South Sudan, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, and Samia Suluhu of Tanzania. The world is now looking forward to finding out the content of the Nairobi Declaration as the Africa Climate Summit enters its last day. The declaration is expected to point out Africa's position on climate change, climate financing, solutions to climate change, and how the continent plans to tackle each climate problem. Largely, the continent is 3 years overdue on the commitment to mobilize 14.5 trillion shillings per year meant for climate change. This has hindered climate talks in the past. At around 11:30 a.m., President William Ruto will also make a high-level statement alongside Comoros President Azali Assoumani and African Union Commission Moussa Faki. This will also see a discussion around the Nairobi Declaration. A man who collapsed at Kianyaga Stadium in Gishungu, Kirinyaga County during the ongoing Kenya Defence Forces recruitment exercise has died. Police said Francis Washira collapsed after finishing the final lap while entering the gate of the stadium, where first aid was administered before he was rushed to the Kianyaga Sub-County Hospital. He was later taken to Keregoya County Referral Hospital as his condition worsened, where he died. Washira's father said he was shocked by the news as they were hoping that he would fulfill his dream and join the KDF. As the dispute between the governor of Kiambu, Kimani Wamatangi, and MCAs of the county escalate, it's now clear that the county parliament has failed to pass the bill that is expected to fund the budget for the 2023-2024 financial year. Led by the chairman of the accounting committee in parliament, Kennedy Odhiambo, he says that this will lead to misuse of public property.
Huwezi fanya kwa mayai ambayo imeenda kwa boma ya mtu ama kuku, but tunataka kuona barabara inaundwa. Mimi kazi yangu ni kuangalia vile pesa ya Kiambu inafanya kazi.
However, financial experts say that the situation may affect Kiambu's economy. At least 42,000 people with the TB were either missed or not notified in 2022. A report by the Division of National Tuberculosis, Leprosy and Lung Disease Program says that the WHO estimates that 133,000 people in the country could be having TB. Despite the WHO estimate, only 90,560 cases were notified as a result of intensified case-finding initiatives through the active case-finding strategy at health facility and community levels. 9 counties reported an increase in case notification of 28% or more in 2022. You can now participate by giving your opinion through the government's public participation forum on the Social Health Insurance Fund before it's submitted to Parliament. The Cabinet had recently repealed the NHIF and approved key steps that will see it replaced with 3 separate funds known as the Primary Healthcare Fund, the Social Health Insurance Fund, and the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illness Fund. The Cabinet said the move was necessitated by the Kenya Kwanza administration's objective to accelerate the rollout of universal healthcare coverage. This event comes as the Chief Advisor to the President on Health, Daniel Mwai, said that unlike the NHIF, Social Health Insurance aims to improve the provision of basic health services to all Kenyans at a low cost. You can check out Spice FM's YouTube channel to understand more about the proposed insurance fund before you give your proposal on it. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And we're looking at traffic still a little bit on the Thika Superhighway coming through towards Pangani. Most of it is happening, however, on Uhuru Highway. Looking at that junction coming in from Langata Road, and then we're also looking at coming in further ahead, just touching on from University Way. Looks like it will continue for some time. Apart from that, you've not done too poorly this Wednesday morning. Let's keep things moving. Now we can. Spice FM, KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
We come on to the final hour of Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room, this lovely morning. Karibuni sana if you're just joining us. We are gearing up to the 29th of October because
we are running and we're doing it for the 20th year. Who are we doing it with? We're doing it for the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. It's Kenya's largest single-day athletics event. It's back this year and it's bigger. All right, like I said, it's the 20th edition, so it's special. Celebrating 20 years running. How can you join in this? Log on to www.nairobimarathon.com, register for 2,000 shillings. And then come the 29th of October, one would hope that you'd have been training between now and then. Come out on the 29th of October to Uhuru Gardens, and then let's run along the Southern Bypass. It's all for a good cause. The Future Makers Program. It helps young people, especially girls and people with disability, to learn, earn, and grow. That's how you can do it. It's www.nairobimarathon.com.
Karibu sana. Let's run. Let's make sure that we enjoy this one, the 20th edition. We're now joined by somebody who's here to talk to us about flying. He is an airhead.
Wow.
I had to throw that one
You
in.
just had to.
I just had to throw that one. Mwenda Mabura is a pilot, and he is joining us now. Good morning, Mwenda.
Good morning, Latiff.
Karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conversation. Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Thank you.
Yeah. You are Captain Mwenda Mabura. You are among the leaders of people who talk about airline and pilots in this country. Welcome to the conversation. We want to talk about what you feel as pilots and the pilot fraternity, and you as a person, is the direction that Kenya Airways should be taking towards recovery. And they will delve right into that one shortly. CT, why don't you give him the proverb of the day?
Yes, from the Gabonese Republic. What comes out of the mouth has lost its master.
What comes out of the mouth has lost its master.
Yes.
Captain, when you hear this, what do you hear?
When I hear this, I think I can relate to a headline that I saw yesterday in the newspaper, in the Standard, where it was written, Kenya, are we making profits or is it an illusion? So the words which are coming out of management, those words, the master who wrote those words, when you say something, it's supposed to mean something. So relating to why I'm here and in terms of aviation, I think when you say you've made a profit, you better be sure it's a profit. And if you're not sure, it's better even to keep quiet. Yeah, and because misleading people is a wrong thing. You're misleading the taxpayer of Kenya, you're misleading the citizens, and I think it's wrong.
So once the word is out, it's out. You can't do anything about it.
The word of a CEO of a chairman or a chairman, it's a final. It should be taken. It's taken
as gospel.
As gospel. But now, if people start questioning, even until it's the conversation of the country, until the newspaper say it's like these guys are delusional. That's very scary. Yeah, and for me, actually, I'm here on a personal capacity. And the views that
you're about to express.
These are my views. And I don't want anyone to feel that, that's the disclaimer. So, but whatever I'm going to say is actually out there in the media. It's in the print media.
It's something that you hold dear.
Yes.
Proverb is courtesy of Dairy Best. Dairy Best, long life milk. You know it?
Yeah.
The long life milk.
Yeah.
Hakuna chai.
Yes.
Ambayo ni chai.
Kweli.
Yes.
Kama hiyo chai haina Dairy Best.
Yes.
A lot of milk.
Yes.
I know you are somebody who loves coffee yourself.
Yes.
He's a barista of note. But also, Kwa hiyo kahawa,
Yes.
maziwa,
Yes.
dairy best.
We must promote Kenyan, and in fact, we must be patriotic, and that's one thing that is lacking in our company: patriotism.
It's patriotism.
And that's actually why I'm here.
Okay. Let's start from the very top.
Yes.
Kenya Airways management recently released the half-year results and said, you know what, for the first time in, is it 7 years?
Yeah.
We have actually turned around an operating profit.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if we now bring in other things, we end up having a bigger loss.
Yeah.
And they explained that bigger loss.
Yeah.
They talked about the depreciation of the currency. They also talked about the legacy loans that they've been having and not the paying of those. Those ones have contributed to that. But in terms of operating profit, we have actually turned an operating profit for the first time in very many years. Do you dispute that in any way?
You see, what they're giving us is what they have. We have not audited those accounts. So they need to provide us with those documents, because that's the only thing that is available is what the CEO said. But I can say in summary, there's somebody in our WhatsApp group in high school said, it's like a butcherman saying that soup ya kichwa, is making profit, but the whole butchery is at a loss. So for me, the way I see it is just playing with numbers and language. But the bottom line, we've made 21.7 billion loss. In fact, 21.7 half year. So even if you had to double that, that would be like 43 billion loss if you project by December. The other year we made a 36 billion loss in last year, 2022. We made a bigger loss than we made during COVID. So when the aircrafts were packed, we made, I think, a loss of, I can get the exact figures, but it was much larger than when we were operating. So that brings a lot into question on either there's a problem in the accounting or there's a problem in the whole of operations. And for me, the way I would like to use this time here, because I think Kenyans really want to know. I think, if you allow me for today, if we can talk about the solutions of Kenya Airways, because the problems are already known there. But just to mention, for this forex exchange, the ticket that a customer buys is pegged to the dollar. 90%, or let's say 80 or 70% of the people we carry are from outside Kenya. So they pay using the dollar, or the dollar rate of the day. We don't charge the dollar rate of 2020. So if we are charging the dollar rate of the day, that means there's a problem with the way we're managing our forex. Do we get our forex and then are we charging the dollar rate of 2020, or do we get the dollars and then we convert them the same day in Kenya shillings? So it's prudent to have a dollar account because you're an international airline. Or most of your business is outside Kenya. So you should have a dollar account, you should have a euro account, you should have a Chinese yuan account.
Are you saying we don't have this?
Well, according to him, it seems that everything, I don't know what we have, but what I'm saying is that a prudent business is supposed to have every currency
let's say a dollar account. And yes, many of the tickets, much of the revenue is coming in dollars.
Yes.
Much of the operations would be in
dollars.
Operating costs. You're paying salaries in shillings. You're paying power in shillings. You're paying some airport fees in shillings, some airport fees in foreign currency. But then when it comes to the end, when you're paying back your debt, you're paying the debt in the foreign currency. When you're paying for leasing, you're paying the leases in the foreign currency. Isn't there now going to be a balance out of those
But you see, you have already, I think the bulk of the money is collected in dollar or dollar rate of the day. So why should you suffer foreign exchange? I've spoken to accountants who work in central bank or KPMG. That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
But I'm not a professional accountant. I'm a pilot and an aviator and an engineer. So the best thing, to demystify that thing, we call the guys to look at the books.
To look at the books.
Yeah.
So you have no issue really that you can raise tangibly about the books.
So for the books, we need to have like professionals to come and look at the books. But for the operations and why we are losing money, that I can
talk about.
Yes, and that's what I'd like to talk about. Yes.
You are a pilot.
Yeah.
You have flown for many years.
Yeah.
How many years have you been a pilot?
Since 2002, that's when I started my flying in South Africa. Yeah.
21 years.
Yeah.
21 years as a pilot.
Yeah.
Flying and working in airlines.
Yeah.
And therefore you understand this business.
Exactly.
This is what you do on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So at first, I'd like to talk about the history of aviation. You know, sometimes if you want to solve a problem, it is good to understand actually even the history of that, the whole field of aviation. And the history of aviation, and especially airline business, started in 1918, and it started through the U.S. mail service. It was the second Postmaster General, Otto Prager, who, you know, they used to send mail using rail. So it used to take 3-4 days. So this second Postmaster General, a junior guy, he said, why don't we use these Second World War aircrafts, which are no longer in use, to transport the mail? And you'll see how this story relates to Kenya Airways. So the Otto Prager said, we are going to beat the train. We are going to fly the mail from East Coast to West. They started, first of all, from New York to Washington, then they went Chicago, then the East Coast. And they were able to convince the public and the government that actually a mail delivered in time, it transformed the business of the U.S. It opened up America. Every single place the plane landed, that town, people were competing for planes to land in the town. They would create airports. And from there, a lot of towns grew. So the inception of airline business was actually a cargo. So if you look at it, it was a cargo business. Yeah. And then they continued, they ran it, and then there was a change of government, and then much later, now that mail service, private enterprises came in, and then the formation of Pan Am, you know, that's when it came up. So having that in mind, let us look at Kenya. How does Kenya, as a country, we as Kenya, let's say Kenya is a business entity, how do we make money? How do we get our income as a country? The first place we make the greatest amount of dollars or foreign exchange is the transportation business, in the transport sector, rail, air, and sea. Even the goods which are coming through Kenya to Tanzania to Uganda, that alone, these dollars coming in. So the transport industry is number one. The second, we have got, right now, remittance has come in. But before, historically, they had horticulture. We had the meat exporters. Then we go now to the tourism sector. And then now we have the remittance, which is coming up, financial services, and so on. And if I relate that to exactly what is happening today, the World Bank, this is a newspaper extract, noted that Kenya exports remain skewed as heavily relied on agriculture exports with fewer service exports, tourism and travel, transportation and financial services. That tourism and travel transportation, that exactly touches on KQ. Yeah. Then it says, consequently, Kenya's economy is much less trade-oriented than in the norm for peer and aspirational peer economies, depriving it of major potential, engine of growth and job creation. So you see, we are failing to untap that sector. So how do we make sense of KQ, our economy, and how do we position ourselves for the future? Because if we keep on joking around with this airline of ours, you see, India, I remember when I was born in the 80s and much earlier, India, you know, we used to grow up hearing India is that world. Now India has landed in the moon. They have sent another satellite. While Ethiopia has started manufacturing spare parts for Boeing. Here we can't figure out our spare parts. We are claiming our spare parts are coming from Ukraine. And for the citizens in Kenya, parts don't come from Ukraine. That's an excuse that any frivolous business wants to use. Parts. Boeing is an American aircraft. They don't rely from parts from Ukraine. That's an excuse because how many other Dreamliners are flying in the world? Now almost 1,000. Where are they getting their parts? So,
what I'd like to understand, and I think it would just ground us a little bit here, where the losses are actually coming from.
That is where I'm getting into.
Because in order to lose something, you must have it. Right?
Yes.
So there's something that's not coming together, and that translates into loss of shillings.
That is what I'm getting into.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first thing, what I did, I studied, having that history in mind, how we make money as a country, because you need the public to understand. Understand the history of aviation was based on a cargo business, then it went to airline. Then now Kenya, what we make money from, it is cargo, transportation. So now, how do we make sense of all these things and come up with a policy document to assist us? So I studied even recovery of airlines like Japanni Airlines. It suffered the same thing. They had SARS during their time. They were being pumped money over and over again. So how did they achieve? I look at Lufthansa, American Airlines. You do benchmarking properly all over. So there's one thing that I came to find out: the leadership of
all those
airlines is very important. If you look at the American Airlines, and before I go to my presentation, I'll read to you the chairman of the US. It's called Mr. American Airlines. American Airlines was Pan Am. So this is the oldest airline. The chairman, William, at the time I was Googling, the guy sits in the board of air transportation, International Air Transport, School of Business, Passenger Experience Association. We have got a director, Museum, Science, History, Chicago Horticulture Society. Did I mention about horticulture? We've got another guy here, James. He sits in the National Competitive Center, Aero Architects, Engineering. He's an aeronautical engineer, National Aeronautical Association. There's another guy there, Rack Space Technology. Go down to, there's a guy of Kraft Food. And I'll show you how all these things, how we should frame our airline. And then now we've got a guy here of Air Leasing Corporation. Okay? We have somebody else here who sits in the infrastructure. That is the transport sector. That's like the Ministry of Transport. Then we have got Hyatt Hotel, tourism. So now, having all that.
That was the board of Pan Am.
That is the board of Pan Am.
How many years ago was this? This year?
This is the current.
This is the current board of Pan Am.
Now, if you look at our board, we don't have an engineer there, aeronautical engineer. We don't have a pilot. We don't have people who represent the horticulture society. Like the Flower Council has been complaining year in, year out, especially even during Valentine's. The farmers here want to grow flowers, but there's no capacity for us to carry. 5,000 tons they can produce per day, we can only carry 70. Surely. So, tourism and travel, there's none. So, I came up with this plan. So, the first thing we need to do is to have a new leadership, which is professionally competent. Number two, at the top, at the board level. At the board level.
Currently, what's our board like? How is the Kenya Airways board picked?
The past regime, it is the CS Transport or the PS who was selecting them. I have not seen anyone there who is passionate, patriotic, and maybe even competent to sit there. For me, the way I feel it, we need to take it seriously.
The PS Transport the CS Transport has sweeping powers to appoint the board.
Yes, that is one of the things in my recommendation where we talk about the governance and the policies that we need to enact to assist. Because, just like the judicial system, everyone who sits in the GSC or the Chief Justice or must have a basic law degree. So how come the only place where there's madhoganio is in Kenya Airways? You know, when you come to the legal fraternity, you must have a law degree. It's basic. You cannot be a prosecutor. You cannot sit anywhere in the judiciary. So why do we allow in Kenya Airways every single person to come there? And if you ask them for real, I've never seen them patriotically coming out and speaking this. So if you allow me, Latiff, so that quickly I just go to this. Second thing we need to do is our organizational structure. If you look at our organizational structure as a company, it is actually a bank structure. The structure of any airline, the first thing you must have, because like in Kenya, the transport sector, that's a technical field. So you need to have a flight operation department. Okay? So at the board, you have somebody with piloting and another one for engineering. But also you have a director who is a flight operation director. Clearly, and he's not doing engineering and flying. So it's separate. Okay, and he's in charge of pilots, cabin crew, and ground operations. I also came up with new things that we can do from there. We can get a simulator of a Dreamliner 737, flying school. We can cooperate better with KAA. You know, so many things are happening. So that's the department. We did a second department, engineering, where properly we can do our engine overhauls. Currently, because we don't have, we lost some certification. Because during that time, Mikos fired some 100 engineers. So now, in the process of firing engineers, now we send our aircraft to somewhere in the Middle East for maintenance. When we take those aircraft there, guess who is there? The Kenyan black guy there. So now, what are we doing? We are refusing to pay a guy an extra 5,000 shilling. Then we go to the Middle East and we pay 100,000 for his allowance, the same Kenyan guy. So that is one of the losses.
Where does the engineering function sit in the management of KQ?
It's under flight operations. It's supposed to be a separate thing, and someone sitting in the board who understands this thing.
Okay.
Then we need also a proper cargo and mail department. As I said, if we had like 10 777 cargo aircraft, we'll fill them overnight.
We don't have them, in other words.
We don't.
How many do we have?
None.
0 777 cargo.
We have 000. We have got some 2 737 cargos that rarely they operate once in a while, but they only came after we started making noise. Then the third department is the tourism and travel. That is very, very key, where we'll work with the Brand Kenya, the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture, Tourism Board, Association of Travel, hoteliers, pubs, medical tourism, even diplomatic, peace corps and support. Even for our soldiers, we should be carrying our soldiers. Then for the cargo, those State Department of Fisheries, Meat, Produce, Flower Council, Export Promotion Board, you know, the State Department of Trade. Then a very simple thing that we can do, Kenyans are always buying things from outside, and even their families are outside. They want to send them tea, coffee, they want to send them things. We should have a KQ kind of like an Amazon app, where we everything, you go to the KQ app. If you're buying a ticket, you buy. If you're not buying a ticket, you want to ship, like Latiff, you want to buy maybe an iPhone, you click there, buy iPhone, comes to KQ Center, and it's brought over here.
It's brought here by KQ.
Yeah, why should we pay FedEx? Why should we pay these other? We are going there.
So KQ Courier.
KQ Courier. That one we need to do. Then we need to do, the third thing is to review our mission. I know before we go to the juicy things, let me just give the solutions, 5 points. We review our mission to align to our key economic drivers and the country's aspiration. There's no way the government is thinking this way, Kenya is thinking this other side. The Ministry of Transport is thinking this way, this other person is thinking this other way. We need to have everyone on board.
Harmonized.
Yeah, you see, like the climate summit that is there, I would like to see such a thing, where everyone sits there from the Ministry of Transport, Finance, trade, everybody. We sit there, we do a seminar. And for KQ, we need like a 2-week. And every day we are discussing something, and so that everyone is in line.
So currently, before you move to the next one,
yeah,
where does the cargo function sit?
It is somewhere, but I don't see it as active. In
So you're
fact,
saying
our cargo.
there's no
What is
there's no
happening
department for
right
cargo?
now? And I was going for that point, operational efficiency. We purchased small aircraft called Embraers. Those aircrafts, if you put full load cargo, to Johannesburg, full passengers, the baggages or cargo, it doesn't have any capacity. It's like Latiff. Now you have matatus from here to Kiambu. Then you say, oh, the big matatu 30 is consuming a lot of fuel. So what do you do? Your solution is to buy 10 VITs. We need to be we need to be a bit serious when it comes to that.
But then some of these mistakes were made at some point.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And you went into long-term leasing and purchase.
Yeah.
15, 18 years ago or so, you have the crafts. Today, you wonder, you're the one who was told, turn around, KQ. What would you do?
The first thing I'll do, which is in my operational efficiency, is to reorganize the airline to one fleet, Boeing.
Okay.
Why Boeing?
So how long would it? How long would it?
Boeing is the oldest manufacturer. 2, it's made in the US. The people who can give you sanctions and serious sanctions are the US. The biggest number of tourists in the world are the US citizens, the ones who travel the most in the world statistically. Then the Chinese. Now Indians are coming in. Then the UK, Australia.
How long would it take you to
the Boeing
reorganize
aircraft
that fleet?
already? Most of our pilots are rated on it, the 737 and the 787. Some guys have even the 777s that we got. So once you have one fleet, instead of for Kenyans, for them to understand, it's like now Latiff, you have your matatus to Kiambu. Now your friend tells you, those VITs are not good. Okay. Buy Nissan, Tinder, then you buy some Mercedes.
Economies of scale.
Exactly. Now you have got, even your mechanic is putting the clutch of, it doesn't know this one takes 10. Yeah. So have one fleet. And you see, this is not something far-fetched. When I came up with this proposal in 2017, people thought I was joking. But right now, it's the norm. A lot of airlines, United Airlines are buying, I'm not saying they're buying like only Boeing, but most people want to have that one fleet. The latest airline, the richest of the one of Saudi, is going to have only 787s and 737s. Period.
Bus.
Training for pilots, engineering. When you're buying your spare parts, transitional training for a pilot is very expensive. It's not like moving from driving a Vitz to a Nissan. That's a very different. It's very expensive. It takes even a month of training. It's like 6 million Kenya shillings. So if you have one fleet, it's better. And then most of the regulations start in the US, the manufacturer. So why are we beating about the bush?
It's easier to go there.
It's easier to go there.
Don't I remember hearing something from the management saying that this is actually a route that we're taking?
But we
are no longer taking on the Embraers. We've cancelled the Embraers fleet. But now, how long would it take you to transition to phase out the Embraer fleet that we already have and to get more Boeings with money that we don't have?
You see, just like any country, if you are serious, there are clauses of terminating leases. If you are running a business and you find that there's something, if you are running like the matatus and those VITs you had hired them are not making sense, you can terminate the lease. Or when the lease finishes, you get rid of them. But basically, if an airline is to recover, even when Japanni Airlines, they had to streamline. You cannot have different types of aircraft. It's very expensive, and even when you're negotiating for the leasing. And another thing, I just want to note, if we order Boeing aircrafts, General Electric and Boeing, almost the shareholders are almost like the same. You understand?
Like
so they can give us incentives.
In Kenya, we say same what's up.
Yeah. they give us incentive. We can open a Boeing flight training center here. So when we are coming into land, Latiff, you have got your cousin on left side seated there, like, hey, they see KQ Boeing training facility. That gives confidence, not just to the Kenyan, even to the foreigner who does not know Kenya. When they see Boeing, that is a mark of confidence. And then GE, and this training center and engineering center. We have got 800,000 kids being pumped out of high school.
High school, yeah.
Very less than 200 go to university. The other ones need jobs, and this plan will give jobs to kids irrespective of their skill. There are some who can be pilots, others can be engineers, others can be cleaners, others can be technicians. So these kids who are in the university students in Jomo Kenyatta, in JQCAT, in polytechnics, all these kids should be doing attachment. An engineer should be working with like 10 attachments. Yeah, go get me my pen. Go get that oil. Go get this thing. But you see, him is coordinating like he's like a choreographer. Like in a show. But you see, things move fast. Like when you go to is it Hong Kong and Bangkok, there's always a wing worker. At the end of the wing, when the aircraft is being pushed, or there's somebody studying. Now it might look like a small job, but if that wing hits another aircraft, that's a damage. It's a damage. That's a job we can give even someone with an E, even if he did not pass. You just make sure this wing is clear of any obstacle. We create that job, and the guy has purpose.
Bunny, let's take a break. Continue shortly. Mwenda Babura is a pilot. He is here to talk to us about what he feels strongly should be the turnaround strategy for Kenya Airways. Let's continue this conversation shortly. 23 minutes to 10.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
What are your goals for future study? High academic standards, amazing learning environment, multicultural communities? Well, the Study in Japan Global Network brings you the Study in Japan Fair for Kenya 2023 for students in arts, business, international studies, languages and sciences. Come and meet with 18 Japanese universities on Friday, September 15th at the Embassy of Japan from 10 a.m. Plenty of scholarships are available. Apply before you leave or apply when you land. To join this event, log on to www.studyinjapanforafrica.com now.
Oh, finally! It's my Standard Courier delivery.
At Standard Courier, we know that your time is valuable. That's why we guarantee swift and efficient deliveries to your doorstep every time. Give us a call on 0793 599 684 or schedule your next delivery by visiting our website www.standardmedia.co.ke/courier. Trust Standard Courier service for all your courier needs. We deliver.
Sunny conditions in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 26 and lows of 15. Lows of 13 in a sunny Nakuru, going to highs of 27. 26 will be the high, and lows of 12 in Nyeri. And the sun is up at 18 in Eldoret with highs of 25. It's sunny at 27 in Mombasa, highs of 30, and highs of 30 in Malindi, where it's sunny at 28. We'll see highs of 27 and lows of 18 in Kisumu, and highs of 27 and lows of 15 in Kakamega. At 21, Kampala is sunny, highs of 27, and at 28, Dar es Salaam is sunny, going to highs of 29. It's now 16 and sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 26 and highs of 29 in a partly sunny Lagos at 25. It's sunny at 23. In Kinshasa, highs of 33. Looking into a blazing hot Beijing afternoon, it's 32 degrees and hazy. Highs of 33 and lows of 22. Extreme high temperatures noted for Paris at 20. And it's sunny at 17 in London. Clear New York on Tuesday night, coming into Wednesday, highs of 35 and lows of 24. Just when we thought it's all over, whatever is going on Jogo Road this morning inbound towards Landis is an absolute mess. Not sure what has caused this, but we're looking at bumper to bumper and one more bumper on Jogo Road, trying to get out towards the City Stadium roundabout. Folks are trying to turn and go the other way, the longer route, but this is actually quite a mess. Some folks been stuck there for a half hour. Uhuru Highway is also busy in and outbound, and we're still seeing traffic on the Thika Superhighway. That seems to have disappeared, but it's back now. And after survey, you have to stick to the lane. Can't use the service lanes. All right. Looking at traffic coming in from Limuru Road, that's also heavy. And coming out of Westlands, we're looking at that as well. Looks like traffic hour is going to extend a little bit more today. Let's talk in the meantime through the morning on Spice FM, KE on X.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
All right, thank you.
Done right.
Conversation continues with Rubani Mwenda Mabura, talking about Kenya Airways and the turnaround. So you've told us what you feel should be change of the board and make sure that the board has representatives of the key competencies in aviation.
Yes.
Aviation engineering. And then bring in the people who are crucial to the sector.
Yeah.
Make sure that those who contribute a lot to the business of aviation are sitting on the board.
Yeah.
Exporters, the major exporters in the country and such, so on and so forth. Management, then the organizational structure.
Yes.
Flight operations should not be same flight operations plus engineering plus cookery plus flight operations and engineering another. And then it's saying cargo should be a standalone department that has its own functions and all. And then you also talked about marketing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The other thing now is operational efficiency, cost drivers. That is something that it's not even me who has even highlighted it. Even IATA has highlighted that fact. And one of the major cost drivers for us in Kenya is, and here is even is an IATA document, which anyone can Google, is the user charges. These user charges are things like, like the legal fees and the IT. We're in court every single day. Every day we're in court. We have got the most labor cost cases or whatever cases. These legal costs are very expensive. In some of these things, small things are blown up and they're into out of proportion until people have to go.
What specifically takes you to court?
I have no idea. I don't know why things cannot be solved. Small things are blown up. You argue until.
Are there industrial issues? Are there things to do with human
there are
resource?
industrial issues. People have been terminated wrongfully. All sorts of things. Then we have got IT. Right now, even like a couple of weeks ago, we could the pilots we could not be able to look at our roster. In IT came in Kenya. Internet came in 1995. We how many years is past now?
Let's say it's a long time ago.
It's a very long time ago. But we cannot have free internet there. Wi-Fi does not work, and the systems still don't work because they are changed. It's every day, every year. There's something new. There's a new mail system. There's a new. All these things are very expensive, and they need to be investigated. Why they keep on changing? Why can't we just get one that works? That IT is a problem. Then our maintenance again and overhaul. Because of firing of the engineers, spare parts are not bought, all sorts of excuses. And in fact, one of the things that Kenyans need to know, and I came back from flying and we had to do some emergency drills. And to my shock, I came to do drills on an aircraft that I was flying a couple of years back. So I thought maybe the aircraft had bent or the wings had broken off, but there was absolutely nothing structurally wrong with the aircraft. The parts were just robbed.
So you're saying that this one was grounded?
Yeah.
It was a grounded plane.
The aircraft Kilo Quebec Golf was just grounded.
Why?
They had grounded a Dreamliner. They had grounded 2 737s. Those aircrafts are in shells.
So they were the parts were vandalized.
Vandalizing.
Was it vandalism?
Imagine you pack a Dreamliner. A Dreamliner costs $250 million. You pack it for 8 months. I think they packed the aircraft also when they grounded me also. They were annoyed with me at the time because I had gone for another show. So they packed the aircraft for 8 months. That aircraft per day, if you had to fly to London, it will bring almost like $1 million a day. So then you've got 2 737s. Maybe those aircraft maybe average $150 million. Can you imagine each aircraft can employ 12 pilots, 17 cabin crew, or 30? How many engineers? How much revenue in terms of dollars are we losing? I think the management, if you want to know where we are losing money, we need to ask ourselves, why are aircrafts parked?
So why?
That is something very strange.
You're an insider.
Why?
Well, after talking to people, what would be a reason for parking a brand new,
having purchased.
Dreamliners are new.
Yes.
What would be a reason for parking a brand new Dreamliner and you're still flying?
During COVID, we understood because people are not going anywhere.
Is it in an inefficient route? Is it that this plane, our route,
the way
flight can take 400 people and we only get it 200 people?
Is the same way. I could not understand. That aircraft, like that 737, had only less than 30,000 hours. It can, and that aircraft can fly to all the way to 70,000 hours. If you've flown in the US, you enter very old aircraft. But you see, all you do, an aircraft, you can strip the seats, put a new entertainment system, and the aircraft will continue flying. And when it becomes really old, now you convert them to cargo. And that is the proposal that I had given. Any old aircraft, if that aircraft surely was too old for passengers, maybe they are complaining it's noisy or for whatever reason, then convert it to a cargo. There's all sorts of excuses. Oh, the owner did not want, I don't know. But that nobody parks a 737 or a Dreamliner. And that is unacceptable.
And yet they did. And I think the question is then why? Because if it's contributing to some of the losses that we're seeing,
it's impunity.
There must be a why. There must be a why.
They need to come and ask. Actually, the chairman and the board and the CEO need to come and explain to Kenyans why they're asking for a bailout and they had parked those aircraft.
Let me ask, how long were or are these planes been in parking? How long have they been in parking?
The 737s are here from 2020. They are a shell. They have no engine. The cockpit is ripped off.
For a plane to be a shell,
yes,
parked within such a restricted space, it cannot be vandalism. Vandalism is what you talk about.
It's not vandalism. It's self-vandalism. It's they themselves are robbing spare parts. Even
for self-vandalism, you can't tell me that somebody went and took the seat, the pilot seat, and took it home. I mean,
ama alikuja na kanta. Wakatoa engine wakaweka
akapeleka wapi.
No, Eric, actually, even as I'm saying it is possible in this country.
Yes.
Guy took Tomboya.
In fact, more so because it is restricted. The public domain is visible to everybody. When it's restricted,
boss,
there are people who will be allowed in there. So who allows people in and out?
Boss,
that question can only be answered by management.
For something of that magnitude to actually happen, it will take a lot.
I agree.
If we're talking about some few rivets here and there missing, that's something. You cannot say that a plane has been stripped, parked just 3 years ago, COVID time.
In a hangar, no less.
It's in a hangar. And then it's stripped for no reason. There must be a reason.
There is, but I'm saying the opposite of what you're saying. I'm saying because it is in a hangar, because it is a restricted space, what we're saying is even more possible because it is restricted. You can't ask too many questions. People who are allowed there are limited. Whatever goes on there is limited. How it is, planes are repaired. This one isn't a plane haina shock absorber, where somebody is going to tell you nimekuja kubadilisha shock absorber ama nimekuja kubadilisha rivet as you call them.
I hear you, but
these are specialized things.
Why I'm saying exactly that.
Yes.
Why I'm saying it's a whole different conversation. We're talking about engineers who know how to do these things. We're talking about then they are answerable to somebody. There's somebody who is a revenue officer who's saying there's somebody who's in charge of flight operations who knows how many you call them equipment. How many do I have available? That person will be asking, where is KQ? It's called what?
Kilo Johannesburg something.
Yes.
I think as a country, if a company is going to be asking for bailout from the citizens, then the citizens need a proper explanation as to where their money is going. KQ needs to come and account for each and every cent of their bailout money that we have received. Why, under Michael Joseph, 178 billion loss? He has overseen since he came in 2016. Kilavuka has overseen 112 billion loss.
Are you saying that if other people were overseeing this organization, the losses wouldn't have been that?
No, we need, what I am saying here is, why would you continue to be a chairman and a CEO and you're making losses? In Europe, if you declare a profit warning, you're fired. This is a joke. People are starving in Kenya. and someone is seated in the office declaring losses, and then he blatantly comes and lies to people, we are going to make a profit in 2024. Then he says it's a But anyway,
Captain, let me just ask something.
Yeah.
Some of the problems that most airlines have, including Kenya Airways, were exacerbated during COVID. Were they not?
COVID came. Ethiopian Airlines made a profit during COVID. You see,
did they make a profit?
Yes. You see, COVID doesn't mean you see, COVID was a true litmus test of organizations' management.
Yeah.
Did KTN shut down during COVID?
No.
Then.
Did they make a loss? Yes.
Yes.
Listen. But there were historical issues. As you're getting
no,
as you were getting
that is why
the COVID year.
Yes.
You're coming there with a flopped Project Mawingu, with a project that has done all these things.
But Project Mawingu alone it's not the cause. There are many other factors.
With this, exactly.
Yes,
with these questions of leasing and all.
Yeah. So the leasing, we need to look at our fuel and oil purchases. They are way higher than average. We need to look at our ticketing, sales, and promotion.
As you're saying our fuel is more expensive. We buy our fuel more expensively, or our fuel management is more costly than other airlines?
What is the true cost of fuel here for a KQ aircraft vis-a-vis a British Airways in Jomo Kenyatta?
At the same
place. Same place. Let's not even go far.
Actually,
you know, we need. I don't know, because but it has been cited by IATA. There's a problem there.
It's IATA who have cited.
What does IATA say?
It is 3% higher.
3% high. The fuel cost for Kenya Airways.
Yes.
Is
Equipment
3%.
rentals. Equipment rentals. Let me give you a shocking thing. We had 2 777s.
Two
777s.
These are the ones which were bought during Kibaki's time.
Yeah. Then now they went to Turkish. Now they told us those aircraft, even though it's full passengers, full cargo, to London or Guangzhou, it cannot make a profit.
Why?
So why did you buy an aircraft or lease an aircraft that whether we fill it up, we cannot make money? You see, that's what I'm saying. There are things inside there which are extremely they need to be open booked.
So within this operation of this particular asset, whether it was in the purchasing, whether it was in the leasing, whether it is in the oil, everything that has to do with operationalizing it is such that it doesn't matter how much money we make in doing our business. All these other things cancel whatever it is that we would have made as a profit.
Exactly. That's why we need to really look at our cost. Why is this cost high? What is exactly? You know, you always, there are some costs there which are put there, but they are miscellaneous. Others, you know, we need to, on a serious note, if we keep on joking about Kenya Airways, we are going to be left very much behind. And something I really wanted to note also is you can see what has happened in the airport. You know, there's no electricity. There was no electricity. There was a blackout. Then the generators were bought for 160 million, yet they didn't work. You know, one of the other things that we need to do is actually KQ and the airport. Those two things are intertwined. We need to look at how, you know, time ourselves. When a passenger arrives, how long does it take to come out?
It depends.
You know, we need to have a seamless flow. So if people, you know, these days people don't build round things. You know, round things cause a lot of commotion. Just build a straight new terminal for KQ, which is a rectangular long, linear. So on one side, departure. When you enter in, you see like 20 counters of KQ. In Nairobi, there, you know, the counters are few. Sometimes they're not manned. We're supposed to be having, and people are jobless here outside here. These young kids are crying for jobs. Why can't we give them even part-time, 500 shillings? You come, you check in passengers. But we have like 30 desks. So when you come in, even KA itself, they need to expand that check-in. And then immigration. So we make it easy for you to enter and exit out of the airport. And it's not a problem.
I want to ask this question.
Yeah.
There was a time Kenya Airways, as we know, it made a profit.
Yeah.
We were making money.
Yeah.
Airlines were folding all over the world.
Yeah.
Some very reputable ones, but Kenya Airways was making a profit. What were they doing then?
You see, that time we could make a profit because also the competition was very low. That time we didn't have a big rise of Emirates, Qatar, the Middle East airline. Those were not big at that time. And there's something I wanted to just let Kenyans know. Nobody should tell you, Africa, this is an IATA study, the 20-year passenger growth outlook, 2017 to 2037. The biggest growth is in Asia and Latin and Africa. The Middle East carriers don't have the population by themselves. You know, like if you go to Emirates, the Emiratis themselves, they're not many. Yeah? So the Emirates needs to carry people from Asia to Africa. They are positioned right in the middle to serve Africa and Asia. So Indian Airlines, Air India, has discovered, hey, these guys are actually getting guys from Asia and transporting most to Africa. That's why they have bought 400 aircrafts at once. Air India. 400 aircraft? Yes, they have ordered. So as we are playing around here, other airlines are seeing the gap that we are not utilizing. And even World Bank has told us we are not utilizing the transportation sector well. And let me show you another statistic that will shock you. The demand for Africa travel will rise irrespective of whether we do anything. No, even if there's a coup, that will not change anything. So the demand for air travel in Africa is set to soar irrespective. Kenyans can see. You know, there's a blue line, there's the red line. No policy change. Even though there's no policy, you can see from 2017 to 2037, it's still a growth. Okay, if there's a policy to stimulus and market liberalization, it grows even faster. You see, so if there's a pickup in protection, it still grows. So even if we protect our KQ, whether we do no policy, the demand in Africa is there. So nobody should tell us that it should go. Then there is something else that Kenyans need to know.
I want to ask you, because we're coming to conclude. If you were to be given the reins and told, all right, you are Kipchumba Murkomen, you're the minister in charge of transport. All right, KQ is under you. And you're then to look at how to look at these changes that you proposed here. Bring them in place. How long would it take you to bring Kenya Airways from loss-making to profit-making?
The first thing that I'll do, and I'll not lie to Kenyans, is first of all to do an institutional audit. That's the first step. So this will do a desktop review of previous reports and establish trends. Okay? Then you have to initiate a critical leadership change that will facilitate transparent review. Then that is the first thing you need to do. So you need to change the leadership and then audit. We audit everything. There, because now you cannot start. You don't know the. You have to know. You have to know. The second thing you do is a growth and opportunity plan. So what we do, we organize the second aviation conference. Actually, we had organized one. Though it was small, and it was being beaten around, but we are able to bring in all these key stakeholders, and that's how we're able to come up. But Captain, this. Then that thing
you have studied all these things. You've done all these.
Let me go step by step.
Because we are ending actually in the final minute.
Then from there,
how long would it take you to bring us back to not operating profit, but to net profit?
Net profit.
Yes.
1 year.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
From our current losses. To a net profit.
1 year.
1 year.
But one thing, we need full government support. If there are any contracts which are not making sense, they need to be reviewed. If there are any people who are economically sabotaging us in-house, they even need to be removed. Because you cannot function with people who are sabotaging.
And subsidy?
And then we need government subsidies. Very good. I'm very happy with the government. It has taken over the loan of American Exim Bank. Then we can renegotiate with the other lenders. And then Kenyans, and if people see that there's some patriotism and passion, I'm sure even you, Eric, why would you not fly KQ?
Fly KQ.
Yeah, we need to be proud of ourselves.
Thank you very much for joining us. Come again soon. This is a conversation that needs to continue happening.
Yes.
Mwenda Mabura is a pilot with Kenya. You are a pilot with Kenya Airways. You're a pilot.
Yes.
You work for Kenya Airways.
Yes.
Okay. And he's been with his airline for many years.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. People, have a lovely day. We'll see you again tomorrow. It's 10 a.m. Here's Leah.
The introduction of affordable housing program at the Africa Climate Summit. Speaking while launching the debate on urban growth and infrastructure, Ruto said the effects of climate change cannot be discussed without highlighting its effects on life, especially for people with low income salaries who live in the slums.
The initiative to build resilience and enhance the adaptive capacity